Today is a great day to talk about alcohol because we are in a celebratory period, Q4, and there's a lot of drinks and festivities, and which is all great and dandy. But I have a story to tell, which is my addiction with alcohol, which is no longer the case at this age. Otherwise, I wouldn't look a certain way and I would have aged horribly. So, alcohol for me, when it was first introduced, it was my best friend. It was my greatest escape. It was something that I had never felt before. And because of my turmoil childhood, I fell hard for this substance. I mean really hard. When you combine the fact that I was a performing, and I'm still an artist, but at that time I was a upcoming dancer in the Bay Area, and I joined a boy band, and which would go on to do some great things. We toured, we performed throughout California, LA, San Diego, and there's a couple of performances I did in Las Vegas. Obviously, I live in Las Vegas now. But when you combine the spotlight and the the attention, the rise to sort of the local fame, and I've been through all of that, and then you combine what I have been running from all my life, which is my childhood problems and issues that I have much of it resolved later in life. Of course, there are remnants there still, and never fully, completely goes away. It becomes a piece and parcel and somewhat of an identity of you, but it no longer has the better of me. You know, it no longer has the best of me. I actually came out on the other side, and I'm surprised to be even alive. And I'm talking about getting blessed into the boy band group, right? Who later became a bunch of my best friends in life and brothers, and one became my lifelong friend, and we're still good friends until today. He is my right hand ace, my bro. He's going through some health conditions, and life has been unfair to him, and it's not a good situation he's in right now. It's nothing to do with alcohol, but story for another time. But folks, if I'm not looking at the cameras, because once again I'm looking at the sun and it's right in my face, so I'm trying not to frown. As long as you can hear me and the message reaches you, I'm doing my job. And I'm back at my favorite trail here that you see in most of my videos. I haven't been here for a while. So, you know, when I got blessed into it wasn't a gang. It's a music group, like a artist group, right? So, but they would all be drinking so much, you know, and for the longest time they shielded me because I was the youngest one in the group coming in, and I was also had a background in Brazil, capoeira, martial arts, right? So I bought a flair to dance that they had never seen before as an Indian guy. And at that time, when I introduced it to the group and I came out on my first show, it just rocked the crowd. If you combine hip-hop with capoeira, that Brazil martial art, it's a freaking game changer. And at that time, it was a big, big deal. Like, I'm talking about, who is that guy? Like, is he Eddie from Tekken? So I got those comparisons. And so it's also a glimpse and insight as to how athletic I've been my entire life through the work that I put in, even in my teens, my 20s, 30s, and now my 40s. Martial arts, flexibility, stretching, all of that, right? So here we are, but looking back, there was so much high in being accepted. There was so much high in finding a new family by way of my boys and my brothers. And I still hadn't resolved my demons, and in my early 20s, you know, and my toxic mother had a lot to do with this, and I talk about this in a lot of my videos, and I've even made specific videos on my father suffering from Parkinson's, and at age 35, and eventually his demise at age 73. He died in 2018. He passed, and my mother suffers from extreme acute narcissism, and if you know what that is, it's sad, but I don't feel sorry for her because that's a topic for another time. But it's really bad, folks. So when you combine that, I'm trying to fast forward and give you the perspective of kind of where I'm coming from. When I got the first sip of Bacardi, rum, and Coke, which would go on to become my signature drink for the rest of my life, Bacardi, rum, and Coke, it was game over. And I mean like game over. You know, I haven't done hard drugs, I haven't done meth, I haven't done cocaine and all of that. I've smoked a cigarette for fun, socially. I don't even know how to inhale that stuff properly, which is a good thing. I'm not proud of it either. But like when I drank rum and Coke, it was, my life changed. I was, the bottle and I were buddies, just like I was buddies with the microphone. Because I'd go into the studio and record my songs, I would write songs, but then I had a bottle and a flask I would drink out of every single time during writing a song, composing a song with my producer, releasing the song, doing the music videos. I was partially buzzed. The only parts I wasn't buzzed was doing fight scenes, because that's badass, man. You don't want to mess with that, because you want to be so coordinated and deliver the product. And as you're probably seeing on the B-rolls, right? But the celebrations on the music video release, the short film releases, and then the views, right? And then the comments, and then you becoming a local star, R&B pop star / short film actor, all of these things representing that, right? It was such a ride. Like, I performed in clubs packed. I mean, I'm talking about, like, you can fit in 300 people, 400 people, I think, maximum in one club. That's a lot for California and where I was at that time, right? And this was in my 30s, by the way. So that in itself is quite the big deal. I also rubbed elbows in a worldwide competition with Jay Sean from Cash Money Records. He's an Indian pop, pure R&B artist from the UK. I took part in his worldwide competition for a music video song called Mars, and I went to the finals. There was a lot of that, but I'm giving you the context to the highs of that lifestyle and how alcohol just enhanced everything. But then I was drinking every day. I was drinking beer, I was mixing it, I was doing shots. I went extreme. And I'm talking about even when I wasn't with my boys. And I think they were all alcoholics too. They were. I mean, I was slurring. I ended up in places where I shouldn't have been. Meaning, like, I didn't even know which city I was in, or which area, or which part of town, or which club, or which bar I was in. There were moments when I was in toxic relationships with my ex-girlfriends. And I remember walking the streets in downtown areas where we lived, and I would pass out. I would find myself awake at a bus stop or in a parking lot, just couched in a corner. And I know that sounds so unlike me, but I'm not trying to give you a depressing sob story. This is dangerous stuff. This is dangerous stuff. Like, I just wanted the pain to go away. That's what I was escaping, and I couldn't figure out then what it was. And it was a shadow. It was like a 2-3 layers on my body and my spirit that just wouldn't go away. And I was fighting that feeling for a long time. A big piece is dealing with my father's Parkinson's. That's a big deal. I mean, I talk about this in the video that I just dropped about Parkinson's. It's like 2-3 of them that I did. And then you combine that with a mother that's soul sucking, right? That's trained you to just, negative self-talk, and she just instilled limiting beliefs. She's a very negative person, very toxic person. It makes me, I get angry when I put the pieces of my puzzle, my life together. But then when I think about my emotions and logically, I know why I was doing those things. I know why I was drinking. Even with my ex-girlfriends, we were pounding alcohol. They would follow my lead. Essentially, I eventually became the life of the party, right? Go figure. I became the life of the party. Like, it wouldn't start until I got there. And I encourage everyone to drink. I encourage everyone to take shots, and when there was a dare to put it down, bro, I was the guy, right? I would even volunteer taking drinks off of my boys and finishing it for them as if I'm helping them somehow, right? And then we would all pass out in different areas of the room and a party wherever we were, right? House parties, throwing up, waking up next day, eating horribly. And then that would continue for days and days and days. And I had a little bit of a gut. I blew up to 190 something pounds. I could always move though. Like my mobility and that's one thing I'm really blessed with, is because I put in a lot of work on stretching. So as heavy as I was, I could still do backflips and gymnastics. I did all of that. I have a gymnastics background. I took it for a year and a half. That really vastly improved my capoeira skills. And there's still a lot left in the tank that I just don't show. But I'm about to soon release, more videos about how martial arts changed my life. And on this channel, I did a video about how Karate Kid, that movie, changed my life as a kid. There's more to that story too. So coming back to the topic of alcohol, if this message is resonating with you, please speak to me. Tell me your stories. Like, I was also to the point where I got so extreme that 2 or 3 glasses of rum and coke were no longer doing it for me. I needed 6 glasses, now 8 glasses. If I did 8 glasses on a given night, okay, or 9, I would feel some sort of way, We would have this like invisible throne, like, oh, you're not a little bee anymore. You've grown a pair of, what, right? But the one thing that I realized, and I continued doing this, by the way, well into my 40s. The path that I'm on now, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily 100% sober. I know my limit and I know how to enjoy alcohol. Alcohol is not the enemy. It's my relationship with alcohol and what I chose to do with it is the problem. I wouldn't even say it's the enemy. It's my problem. I was running away from it. Once I started doing the inner work, like deep inner work, and I removed myself from a lot of people, including family, also topics that I've covered and topic for another time. I have so much Gen X, we have a lot of stories to share like this. And once I did, I separated and really spent time doing the inner work. And I'm talking about not even like, connecting to the spiritual aspect of it, the higher power, but you have to find it within you to want to do the deeper work. Like, I know that there was more to life, and I tried leaving alcohol many times. I even talked to my best boy, my right-hand guy, Ace. It's like, hey man, we can't live like this. So it was coming. It was just a matter of time before, I had to honor those voices. But then I postponed that for 3-4 more years, and the whys were always there. But what started happening slowly is that I got into self-improvement and the training phase as I was evolving as an artist, and I left the boy band. As I was coming up and just really shining as an independent artist, I realized that there were more physical demands on my body and mind and spirit for me to function. It still didn't hit me that I was aging. Like you lose track of time, like, because you think you always have more time, right? And you forget the fact that you're actually all of a sudden 36, 37, 38, 39. I think it hit me the day I turned 40. Like something happened. But even then, I have always looked significantly younger than my age. So that I took for granted as well. So I drank my behind off on my 40th. Went to work hungover. Not the first time. Back then I was in banking. And then I would show up to work hangover. I could feel myself recovering and I couldn't concentrate. I felt like a shit face. I looked great on my clothes still. I was just heavier, just a little beefy. When you're working out and you have all that sugar in your system and, the water, you just look a little puffier, but I was lifting. So some of it I was able to negate, but for the most part, I just looked chunkier than normal. Like 195 pounds is a lot for me. Right now I'm subpar 160, and I'm again in the best shape of my life and telling you the story. So, man, those work hangover days were freaking crazy. And what's also but what's crazy is I would see other people looking at me a certain way and being extremely judgmental, quite rightly so, because I was acting a fool. Um, and for at least being that age, but I'm not the only one. I've seen people back then way older than me, even until today, way past their kindergarten days and acting a fool, you know. So that's not an exception. That's honestly not acceptable behavior. And so, you know, I lost people, I lost acquaintances. I built a community in the Bay Area where I was living. There were fans of mine, and I slowly lost the crowd. I started almost going backwards after the Jay Sean Cash Money Records competition was over. Second place I got out of like worldwide, which is no joke, by the way. Um, and that was also very depressing to take that L, because if I was to make it, that was the point of me crossing over to be signed. But you know, even then, it's not never really over. It's you, what you think and what you perceive, because I can still do music. I can still go into the studio. I can still record a song. I can still go out and do a music video if I want now, right? But that's not my. I'm going to do one. I'm going to do one in Vegas, but it's not where I want to be. It's not my goals anymore. I'm signed to a talent agency here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now I'm not. I'm actively auditioning. I'm going for gigs. I have a casting director. I have a group of people around me, right? And what I noticed is that in the last, I think it was in 2019, specifically, my ex-girlfriends all had problems with my drinking, especially this one particular one who actually was really good. She has a good head on her shoulders, and just looked at me one day, looking at my stories, and I was slurring and live streaming in Santana Row. Brings back memories. That's in San Jose, a beautiful part of San Jose, upscale and all that. It reminds me of LA and San Diego put together in one place. But she said to me the next day, like, wow, you haven't changed one bit since we broke up. And she's like, you know, married, and at that time she's got 3 kids. But she said something to me that shifted me. But it's not the first time. It's where I found myself, how disturbing it was looking at my stories, and how I just would not want to be that guy. But that was me. I was him. And this is the point. This is the point in the story when I am him doesn't sound cool anymore. No, you don't want to be him. That's the point. And so I got a lot of flack for that, and I couldn't see it. And sometimes when you are so deeply entrenched in such a toxic habit that you're so attached to something and your stories and the narrative, and you haven't done the inner work, alcohol's never going to fix it. It's never fixed it, nor it will fix it today. So if that's you, maybe this story is for you. I have tried to give you many snippets of my life, like flashes of my life, for you to kind of grasp what I have been going through. And this is very real. I'm not the first one, but I'm trying to keep it 100% real. When she said that to me, that you haven't changed one bit, look at you. You know, 42 years old at that time, still drinking like a pig. You have such great talent, but you're deteriorating, and how long do you think that's going to last, right? Then I had a panic attack because what I forgot to mention is I was mixing alcohol and Xanax, anxiety medication. Like I said, because it would elevate the way you would feel, right? So I started looking for stronger substances. Someone whispered in my ear that if you mix Xanax with alcohol, it's going to spike it. You're going to feel just this amazing feeling. I could have passed away many times. Like, I was so out of it, throwing up on myself, throwing up, period, crying, yelling, saying all kinds of gibberish stuff that dated back to my childhood, unhealed trauma. Like, the demons were all out, man. The demons were all out. And I think I went off at my mom a couple of times because she She is who she was. She is who we all thought she was all along during our childhood. A crazy son of a bee. You know what I mean? And listen, if this is offending you, maybe this is not for you. This channel is not for you. But there are real life stories of kids who grow up a certain way, and I could have ended up way worse. I could have actually ended up dead. And I tried speaking to my mom about this. She somehow doesn't see you. She doesn't hear you unless you're praising her and unless you're talking about her beauty. Unless the spotlight, if the spotlight is removed from her, she wants no part of you. She wants no part of you. She's all about looks. She's all about the surface. She's all about looking the part, you know, like, I don't care what you have to say as long as you look good. And you tell me I'm pretty. Like, tell me I'm pretty. Like, that's the kind of mother I've had. And she's not my mother. She's just a biological mother. She's someone who gave birth to me. It's a bitter pill to swallow. And for those of you who cannot relate, like I said, this channel is probably not for you. But the way to my therapy and reality is this is the same things that I'm dealing with her today, and I've dealt with her for my entire childhood. Goes back to the fact that, damn, my hero got taken away, my father, at age 35 when he got Parkinson's, and now it's I already lost him, but I already never really had a mother to begin with, because she was never ready to be a mom. She was never really ready to be a mother. And I called all of this out before I left California. You know, it was very sad. I was very broken. I have been broken. I've been very sad, but you can only be that for so long until I took it upon my hands to really change my life, and I have today. You can go through my entire channel. You can see my Instagram page on Life Behind the Reels that will also link you to my artist page. You can see the good work and how vibrant I am now, how much more I glow today. You can see all of that, you know. And so my goal now is to pave it forward and spark a change in the younger generation. And you don't have to follow everything that I'm saying verbatim, because I am, let me stop here. I am not perfect at all, folks. Meaning that I'm not a guru, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a sensei, I'm not a... No one is God, let's just put it that way, right? But my experience has been my God. My experience has been my teacher. My experience has taught me things that I would otherwise not have learned, and in a very hard way. But isn't that what life is about? Isn't life about sharing these stories that can save another person, another young, upcoming, handsome-looking guy with full of talent, and not die and wither away? You know, if I see talent in you, if you're a good-looking dude, a man to a man, a brother to a brother, that's what Gen X, that's what we do. That's how I grew up. I would shake your hand and say, hey, man, you got a lot of potential. Put that liquor down. You know, no one came to help me, man. Like, in my family, my uncles, my aunties, everyone said that you had a touch. Like they could see that I had flair as a kid. Remember the dance story I told you, right? They could see the potential, and I shined. Like, I mean, I did some amazing things with my body. Like, even till today, it's all there. I showcase it in all my fight scenes, stunts. It's all there, folks. The only thing is that I have a few nicks, tucks, bumps, and bruises. Some pain, some nagging injuries, but I can still work through them. I train smarter. I lift smarter after my hernia surgery, which I also talk about. That may help some of you that have been putting off that surgery. So I'm a wealth of knowledge. I like to think of myself that way. And honestly, when I came out here this morning, I had no idea I'd go on for a 25-minute video and talk about my addiction to alcohol. But you'd be damned if I was going to close myself in a room and talk about that story, because I find it depressing to stay indoors and talk, period, and try to make a difference. Nah, that's not me. If there's no motion, there's no movement, there's no story for me, and I can talk from my heart. What I just gave you is my heart and soul. Take what I just told you and fill in the pieces where you like, oh man, this guy was in a bad place. Yes, I was. I even slept with girls that I was not supposed to sleep with. One night stands were horrible. Like, I could barely remember them. affairs, right? I even had affairs with married women, you know. So, like I said, I'm trying to give you all of this because we all are imperfect people, and we can only focus on becoming the best versions of ourselves by accepting the truth, because the truth sets you free. The truth is that I don't like alcohol. The truth is that I like an average beer. I like an IPA. I like a beer with my food and just chill on it. When I go out with my current girlfriend, I don't like to get wasted. I like to stay conscious. New Year's last year, I did get like crunk. Not to the point what I used to do, because I was still very conscious, but I just don't do that anymore. Because your body pays a price. And then I'll leave you with this. Think about your liver. Think about your kidney. Think about what alcohol is doing inside your system. Because I wasn't thinking about all that. You know, it's working overtime. And you're not sleeping. And you're eating like shit. You understand how powerful your body is to be able to flush all of that out? I am thankful to be alive. I should have been dead through all those habits, but I made it. I made it. I made it out to the other side to be the best version of myself, to be the fittest, almost the fastest I've ever been, and flexible. It's almost like I'm back to 25 and I have control of my liquor. The liquor, alcohol does not control me. I speak nothing but the brute truth and honesty to face myself. And I call myself out in the mirror, my flaws. And there are some things I'm good at. There's some things I'm just not good at, and I'm willing to learn from others. That's it. That's where the humble juice comes in. That's where we will forever be the student of this thing called life. Okay? If you're struggling, hopefully this story inspired you. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Once again, thanks for watching, coming to my channel. I'm 49 years old, and I feel like I'm 25, and I'm living my best life. And I'm walking and talking. If there's anything you got out of this video, I have walked and talked for over 30 minutes, but this video is 27 minutes. Okay? I love you all. Be safe. Have a great Thanksgiving. Next video, Mamba out.